Yeah.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jeremy, founder of QuickMail.io.
And this is Jack, Chief Lead Generation Officer at salesspread.com. Today, we've got a conversation that's going to help you get more out of your sales calls that you book through outbound lead gen efforts.
That's right.
All right. We'll leave it at that. See, today we're going to talk about what you should be doing. Get this. Before you meet with a prospect, but after they book, right? So you send the link, they've requested to meet, they make the booking, and then there's like a 2-day lag before they actually get on the phone with you. What should you be doing in those 2 days in order to have a greater chance of a successful outcome on that sales call?
Booyah. And then we'll probably also drop, or I know I will, drop a few tips on what to do during the call quickly and maybe after the call. But we're by no means this is going to be comprehensive. This is just like a few ideas for you to experiment on, or some of the stuff for me personally that worked super well.
Cool. All right. So let's dive in now. A word from our sponsors. I have to. So today, most B2B companies lack the time and expertise to turn cold prospects into warm sales qualified leads. At salesbread.com, we help you generate one lead every day using highly personalized cold emails and LinkedIn messages. Go to salesbread.com, fill out the contact form, ask me for tips, tell me who you're selling to. I'm going to reply with something that should nudge you in the right direction. Let's take it from there. Jeremy, tell us where to go, what we need to do here.
Okay, so for quickmail.io, it's super easy. If you guys are paying for auto warmer, you're doing it wrong. Just head over to quickmail.io and then get access to one of the most advanced auto warmer on the market for completely free. And while you're at it, just give a platform of cold email a go. I think you'll be pleasantly delighted by how great the software can act under a lot of different stressful circumstances or adapting to your workflow. Damn, I almost made it.
I like that. Jeremy, you've just struck every cold email with a big red arrow straight in our heart. So well said there. And let's get going. So a prospect just booked a meeting thanks to good old fashioned cold outreach.
Yeah.
Now,
victory.
We should,
I'm done.
Victory. Here's a common scenario. It's like, let's take myself, right? So we've been doing the podcast a while. We've been doing a lot of thought leadership in the cold email space. A lot of people that know my work and my writing and the podcast say, Jack, it's great to connect with you. Like, a big fan of the show. This is great. They already come to the call with, I know you know this stuff. I know, like, and trust you.
I know where you're going with that.
And so this call, we can bypass the credibility booster, the who have you worked with, the what case studies can you show me? Am I going to look smart to my team if I bring you on? We can bypass that, 95% of it, of course, based on how much content they've consumed in the past. Now, cold prospect that we've done great job doing outreach to, they've booked a call. They said, great, see you Thursday. They may not have any of that. For myself, if I'm using outreach, they may not know the podcast. They may not have read our blog content, where they may not have seen our guest posts. They may not have consumed the course. I'm just another guy that sent them a good cold email. So you can see those worlds are very different, but I think there's a few things that you can do in the time between the call that will help you get closer to the former rather than later.
Okay, so that's a very interesting point. In your situation, specifically as a lead generation agency, supposedly doing outreach, you're sort of like email outreach is your visit card, right? If they don't go through inbound, but you actually reach out to them.
Not all the time.
Right.
Not all the time. It depends what prompted the conversation. So, okay. So I'll give you, for example, hey, Jack, I was talking to a client of yours. He recommended your stuff. I'm not quite sure what it is that you do. They're very brief. I asked a couple peers if they knew anyone for outbound, but they didn't really dive into what you did. So I'm curious about what that is. So that conversation is different than if I sent a cold email to 100 people and 3 of them said, this is the best ham cold email I got. I know you know this world here.
Right.
So
Wouldn't people
in
just use simply PS or even better signature with, like, for example, I put in my signature, this is why agency really love us, at QuickMail when I
right.
reach out to agencies, for example. So wouldn't that curiosity lead to them clicking, consuming a little bit and nudging them over to actually then contacting you? Because in fact, yes, that's interesting, kind of thing.
Hey, that's a killer idea for ways that you can become a credible source through
Mm-hmm.
cold email. I just believe 100% of people that book a meeting have not looked at that link, why agencies love us.
You're
And
right.
that's right. So it just comes down to, if the cold prospect does not quite, okay, let's say in your cold email, even let's say you're selling SaaS, and in that cold email, you've pared it down to the one value prop that you think is going to get your foot in the door
Right.
to have your first meeting.
Yep.
Hey, we just helped. Okay, we released a new feature that has been a huge pain point for a lot of our users, and now you can do this in X time.
Yeah.
Should we have a call about it? Right. So we just released a free auto warmer. Should we have a call about it? It's a bad example, but you get it. If they book the call, they still don't know the vast majority of the 5 huge key differences that they probably should know about the tool. They just know the surface level that got them in the call. That's the problem, I think. It's so we're setting up. Why is it so important to think about how you follow up before this first call? I'll give you one more reason I spend a lot of time thinking about this. Have you ever been ghosted by someone that booked with you? Everybody has.
Yeah, of course. It does happen. It's pretty rare nowadays, but it does happen. Like if you strike, really deep need and then you have like proper follow-up automated and now, all those things like Calendly and so on do it.
Yeah.
And I'm actually surprised by how little no-show I have. And I think it's because, the value proposition is strong. There is a good advantage in them jumping on a call with me. It's not necessarily due to my hyper personalization that I put in, but really more
Right.
like I'm touching something that they're interested in having. So it's in their benefit to jump on a call.
And I may speak for the audience saying there are not everybody is in that league. Not
Sure.
everybody has a thing that speaks so directly to a pain point. And
you're right.
this
I could be
cast may
doing
be
research, for
for
example, and therefore asking them a sort of favor, and then
perhaps
when times
right.
come, they may think like, well, is that really worth, jumping for, that students or, that sort of thing.
So just let's boil it down.
Okay.
2 reasons that you'd want to figure out a better way to follow up before the call is A, to reduce no-shows if that happens to be a pain point, and
right.
B, so that the person who joins the call says,
they're warmed, right?
Yeah, okay, I see what you've been working on. I'm intrigued even more than that first cold email got me, right?
Okay. So in a sense, if I may, that'll be something like, let's say I contact you, Jack. I say, I don't know, I got my typical email. You got my intro line, which is personalized. I could say things like, hey, love the picture of you and the pink pony on your farm, stuff like that I find on your
Sure.
Facebook page, whatever.
Sure.
But the point is that you accept, you accept my, sorry guys, you accept my invite. And then I send you an email just, a few days later and I say, hey, Jack, excited about our call next Tuesday. Here's some of the resources that I thought, that will help, or how would you actually term that? Like, what's the
so
email?
it happens even before that follow-up email before the call. So think about this, right? So how does this process work? You write a cold email, you either include a Calendly link or you ask if it makes sense, and then you send a Calendly link. Either way, they book using your Calendly link. Then what happens? You have an opportunity to redirect that person somewhere. And I think you should spend some time thinking, okay, after somebody books with you, what's the next page they should see?
You know what?
Why would you?
Love that. I mean, this makes sense. I should have like a landing page on my website for everyone who actually booked the call. And in fact,
I think so.
What I do is I'm really strong and really big on anything that is business intelligence. So I love knowing more about, people I'm going to talk to or understanding better, my potential customers. So one of the things I do is in my Calendly link, I always for every type of my meeting, I always have some questions to it that they sort of have to answer. One of them
Oh
is,
yeah.
qualifying questions that could be like, how many customers do you, how many clients do you currently serve? Or another one could be, what is the, if we could address one of those things specifically, what would that be? Those sort of like question I would do to get more information before the call and also get them involved. Because if your question is like, what is the thing you'd love to absolutely cover this call, they're going to answer it and they're going to believe that that's what we're going to cover. And so therefore they will be more inclined to come to your call. But you're right, it wouldn't necessarily educate them. So I love the idea of bringing them to the special page afterwards.
Okay, so what should be on this special page? I'm going to share two things. Love to get your feedback on this, because look, this is totally experimental. I don't have
you don't
enough
want it to
stats to say.
backfire. Like they look at the page and say, holy hell, no, I don't want to jump on a call with this person after all.
So that's not necessarily a worry for me. I just think I will leave it open-ended. I think this is the best place to start with this landing page, but you tell me if you would add or subtract something.
Okay.
So the redirect page says, thanks for booking a call. It's almost an about page that has like best of, right? So my landing page has a photo of me. It says, thanks for booking a time. It has a link to just 2 pieces of my best content I've ever made in my life. Short, let's say the stuff I would like most of my meeting people to consume. Just 2. Keep it really simple. And then I have a place for them to opt into my newsletter if they want even more. Because my newsletter has even more good stuff.
I love the CTA at the end for sure.
Okay.
One thing I would do for is I will also drop definitely testimonials. Like, how would I feel after that call? And of course, if you have people that says like, 5 minutes of Jack was probably the best, strategy call I could have for, cold outreach. I was like, I earned so much, in that first call. This is amazing and so on. So you will sort of like pump me up.
Oh man.
I do love your idea of a picture first. And I tell you why. It's because then that removes all the unknown expectation about like, who am I going to see when I'm going to come into that meeting? Like, who's that person behind? And then when you see that person, it's like, oh yeah, this is a person I'm going to talk to in that meeting. And so there will be, you remove the element of surprise, and then you basically make them more comfortable to then go sharing their faces as well on camera because they already did it, before them.
Right. Okay. So maybe it's picture, and then the headline would be, thanks for booking a time with me, so that the experience is fluid. Like you just booked, the landing page says, thanks for booking. Maybe then it's got your logos, companies you've worked with. Here's the 2 best pieces of content, not to overload the person. And then if you want more, here's the CTA, and then throw in a testimonial or 2. You think that's perfect? Do you think it's a little bit much? Put on your UI sort of helmet here. And
right. I definitely will actually implement that. It's easy now. We got dedicated marketing people, and I know they're listening to all our episodes. So yes, guys, I'm gonna give you some work here, but I think it's really cool. And so obviously we'll do some conversion rate optimization for the CTA we want to optimize for. And I really see having like a different page per different booking types. So that could be a discovery call where they don't know anything. That could be a customer success call. That could be, and all those pages should actually cater to those people. So if this is a cold outreach call, right, and they're booking with me, it could be effectively, testimonials about like, what it is to actually work with us. What do people gain from that? And then the mailing list is effectively sort of like foot in the door stuff. For your best content and article, I think people would love to see that themselves kind of thing, like to make their sort of own informed decision. And I would personally like browse a bit more the website, but it's unlikely that a piece of article will convert me, in a sense that I prefer to just jump on a call. That maybe just be me, but I prefer to jump on a call and have a conversation with, rather than actually reading. Otherwise, I will do this whole conversation by writing and wouldn't email writing. But in fact, I want to jump on a call with you so we can be more efficient. So that's probably the 2 things. But one thing that I would probably put is like, this is what you can expect for this call, right? And not necessarily put the whole agenda kind of thing, but this is what I expect for this call. And then after that, you got the testimonial, right? And so that way, hopefully that gets them pumped up, right?
I like that. So almost a preview, so a teaser.
Yeah, teaser. I like that. Like a trailer for a movie.
There you go.
Right?
Interesting.
Well,
Okay.
they are the hero, of course, right?
I like that. Okay. So we've got the landing page. Now we still have an opportunity to follow up a little bit differently than the calendar templates do. So every calendar integration is going to send, hey, you have a call tomorrow. Hey, you have a call in an hour if you choose those settings. I think those can be done better. And depending which kind of meeting they book, I would add a piece of content, not unlike Jeremy, the link you have, here's why agencies love us, love QuickMail or something. Like it's almost an aside. It's like, hey, this is how I would word it, right? So Samantha, we've got a meeting. Samantha, we've got a meeting coming up tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. In the meantime, in case you're looking for a little bit of sales inspiration, I wanted to send one of my recent interviews with X. It's a fun podcast in case it helps. Have a great Wednesday. Talk to you tomorrow. Right. So the idea keeps coming back to make sure they know your worth, even if that wasn't communicated in the first cold email, because we keep saying this, cold emails should be one big idea.
That's
Use
right.
follow-ups for the rest. It's so easy to have someone show up and say, yeah, so I'm intrigued at this, but I still don't quite know where you guys fit in. And so hopefully this little email nudge, it does two things. It reminds them, hey, we got this meeting tomorrow, and here's another place that you may want to go. After all, we're meeting, you can give it a quick scan. A lot of people have found that the tips are helpful, so that when they show up, they can start off something. Hey, thanks for that. Right? That's a much better place to go than, who are you again? That's what you don't want. Yeah, your name showed up. I booked something,
Yeah, there's just a meeting on my calendar. Oh, which is an interesting point as well. Name your meeting in an interesting way, like people, because that will come to their calendar, and usually they don't go ahead and change the title of that meeting. So name it in a certain way that actually help them and be engaged or curious or willing to attend those things.
Right. So don't call it meeting with prospect name, right? Because that's going to show up on their calendar. It'd be like meeting with Jack, and I'd see that and it'd be like, so weird. So it might say lead gen brainstorm session with Jack with sales spread.
How to double your leads.
Love it. That's great. It's yet again another kind of trailer teaser thing that's
you better deliver on that call.
It's good, yeah, but it's good because it turns something boring like a meeting title in a calendar into something that I'd want to look forward to. So I love that. I never thought of that, Jeremy. That's a really good tip. A lot of work to do now after this cast.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, I'm sorry, but yeah, you're going to have a lot of work. That's all.
This is good. Okay, so last question. We've got the landing page redirect.
I got a few things as well I want to squeeze in. Can I? Is that the right time?
Let's do it.
Okay. One of the things that I'm thinking as well, and that's specifically for me, that may be specific for other people as well. I do have multiple campaigns, right? So I pitch some different angles to different people, and I could do a different calendar, but most of the time they are the same. So one thing that I would encourage you to do is to know what campaign they're coming from before the meeting. So either you effectively have different calendar link, so you will name them differently. So you will see like, oh, that comes from this campaign or this campaign. But when you do A/B testing, what is important or what is useful is to have a quick way to figure out what campaign do they come from? Like what made them accept? Is it, plan E, plan B, benefit A, benefit B, or is it this version or versus this version kind of thing? So sometimes that does play a role. So I will look at that. And the interesting thing, unless you're like me and who doesn't really care, but I will say probably look at the customization you use for that person, right? Because I don't care, because I get to play the role of like, dude, this is my team that does personalization. But
Yeah.
if you actually, doing this, people may actually sort of like feel cheated. It depends which industry, but for us, it's like obvious. It's like we are a cold outreach software, so we automate a lot of things. And so you see, look how cool it is. We have a meeting. You may have accepted because of our, personalization line, even for I didn't write it. So it'll be cool if it happens to you. That's sort of like pitch. So it's fine. But for other thing, it's like, otherwise it could lead to some awkward conversation. Like, oh yeah, thanks a lot. That was great for the guitar recommendation, whatever. What do you use? It was like,
I actually think it doesn't lead to awkward conversations. And I can tell you this. Yeah, we've done like in-depth personalization now for 2 years plus. So, I mean, that's not, maybe a little bit longer, but call it 2 years.
Right.
It started, I guess, what was it, like probably 2019 in January. It was like, oh, things are different now.
I remember.
So we did personalization, and I can tell you, not one time has it been uncomfortable for a client. A lot of times it's either not mentioned, or it's like a quick thanks. Now let's get down to it. At least in America, right? So
and it is true. But I had like a couple of times where people reference it, and I had to say them honestly. Like,
how did they reference it, Jeremy? Did they ask like?
How did you figure that one out?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And I was like, I don't know. My teams does it, And so we have like an interesting, because then I sell them or pitch them on like why this is important and stuff like that. But a couple of times this happened. And then the second time was really confusing. Like I had no idea what they were talking about. Like, oh, it's awesome that you're a fan of XYZ. And I had like no idea what that means. And I'm like wondering, what on earth was this personalization line that prompted this conversation? But it's fine. Again, I say, hey, I'm not quite sure what my team did for personalization, but it's great. Let's
good. That's funny. So you can always upload that to your CRM, so it's right there on your notes when you take the call.
That's right. Anyway, small tips.
Yeah, I like that. Any other small tips, big tips?
Not for before and after, but we could look at, so not for before and actually I do have during and after, but before, no, I think that's all.
Are you sure that's not another episode? Because think about it. Right. Think about it.
Then I should keep them. You're absolutely right.
Keep that. We'll come at you maybe as soon as the following week with Jeremy's tips for what you should do on or after the call. I'm very interested for that.
Yeah, let's do that as a different cast. You're right. Otherwise we'll rush it.
So quick recap. Here's what's going on. You are going to work on your redirect. No, even before that, you might include different questions in the booking link. Change the name to the event so it's more appealing. Change the redirect so it has a photo, maybe some logos, a testimonial. Call to action could be sign up for your newsletter. Keep it
one way or another to keep them in your ecosystem.
There you go. There you go. They're very active at this point. Next, you're going to follow up with an email, but edit this auto template so it includes one of your better pieces of content for the person.
That's right.
And what did I miss?
And the point on this is that sometimes your follow-up will contain all the information, but some people reply earlier in the campaign, and so they won't come with the same level of information that someone who had to go through all your follow-ups.
I think it has a lot to do with know, like, and trust the person you're getting on the phone with, because that's in my experience, that's 90% of the conversation is like, will I be looked at as a smart person if I bring you into our company? That's such a huge part of the sale that can be aided, not done, but aided with some of the content that you share.
Plus, it's a white glove, type of service. It's like, oh, cool. They're spending so much effort and attention for me. I feel good.
Yeah,
right?
It's
about
good.
This meeting, and have the picture for what do I say? No surprises.
Well, it makes them more comfortable to put their camera sharing on. They know who they can see who they're about to meet with, and hopefully they're excited. So the next step.
Don't do the James Bond one. Those two pictures, like you got the James Bond, and then you got like one awkward picture of. No, that's not what I mean. It's like it's a meme on Twitter at the moment, or it used to be, where you have like a picture of one of the latest James Bond guy in real life, and he had like those big eyes and tired and stuff like that. And then he has the picture of, the movie, and there's like, that sort of
Right.
thing. So, make it as close as possible to
Look
what they
the
will
part.
really, yeah, exactly, what they will really get.
Fair point. I
Cool.
like that. Okay, so your next step, head over to course.quickmail.io to
Yep.
get even more hacks, copy, list building tips and procedures that a great agency should be doing for you. You can just go to course.quickmail.io and find out right then and there everything you need to know about how to send cold emails that are going to help you grow, from kind of getting your feet wet to you've got a team and tools that are taking care of 90% of the hard work for you, and
Yeah.
you can just focus on the
or you could replace Jack or me, for the next podcast. So, we can go on
Hey,
vacation.
yeah. Hey, and let us know, podcast@quickmail.io. You can email us if you like the cast, if you want us to do more or less of others. We love hearing from you guys. So, Jeremy, thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah. Great cast. Thanks, Jack.